GST, HST, or neither? Thank you for joining me today. I'm Dalton Green of Green Financial Online Inc., and this is Tax in 10. Today we will ask the question, what is a GST, HST number, and should I have one? What is GST and HST? GST is a national tax on most goods and services. The 5% GST is added to almost every product and service bought and taken possession of while in Canada. Bought and taken possession of is the key idea here, and we will discuss that later. HST stands for Harmonized Sales Tax and simply adds the 5% GST to that province's PST, Provincial Sales Tax. It does not increase the amount of tax you pay, it simply adds the two existing taxes together. Each province has its own PST rate. At the time of taping, PST rates range from 0% in Alberta to 10% in most of the maritime provinces. There are some items that do not have GST or HST added to them. Exempt items are things like insurance products, banking services, pharmaceutical products, basic groceries, and First Nations people on reserves. Every other service and tangible product has GST or HST added to its costs. Let's dissect a GST, HST return in just 3 steps so you fully understand what it is and why you want one. Step number 1. What is it? GST and HST returns are zero-sum games. You cannot make or lose cash on either. They are zero balance at the end of every reporting period. The result is always zero. Reporting periods are either annual, quarterly, or monthly. An annual filing frequency is used until the company's revenues exceeds $1.5 million. $1.5 million to $6 million requires quarterly filing. Over $6 million in revenue requires monthly filing. Annual filing is best, but depending on your gross revenues, you may be forced to quarterly or monthly filing. As I stated earlier, GST and HST is a zero-sum game, meaning you cannot make or lose cash on it. It always zeroes itself out. For example, if you took in $1,000 in GST or HST on your sales and spent $1,200 in GST or HST on your expenses, you get a $200 refund check from the government. It has to zero balance at the end of every reporting period. Similarly, if you took in $1,200 on your sales and spent $1,000 on your expenses, you owe $200 in GST or HST. Again, you don't make or lose any cash, it always balances to zero. From this point on, I'll use the term GST, but mean both GST and HST, the reality of which applies to you is determined by the province of residence or base of operations. The rules and concepts are the same, the number will differ depending on the province. Step number 2, when to get a GST number. If you do not have a GST number, remember I'm referring to both GST and HST, but some provinces don't have HST. You cannot claim the GST you spend. But as you are paying GST on everything, it is a very bad idea not to get a GST number. Step 2 leads directly to misconception number 1. For 19 years, I've heard people tell me, I don't make enough to get a GST number. That is wrong. Now, the law is very clear on when you must get a GST number, but there is nothing to say when you cannot get a GST number. As GST is added to everything you buy in Canada, it makes sense to get a GST number the day you either incorporate or decide to become a self-employed company. You do not have to wait until you have revenue or a profit or whatever other false criteria people impose on themselves. The current law states you must have an active GST when your annual revenue meets or exceeds $30,000 per year. This number exists because that is the national average break-even figure. Break-even means that if your revenues are under $30,000, you'll probably get a GST refund. If your revenues are over $30,000, you'll probably owe GST. So there is no advantage in waiting until your revenues reach $30,000 because you are foregoing all the GST you spent up to that point and the associated GST refunds. Misconception number 2, GST returns are difficult. Not true. Green Financial Online Inc. prepares and files GST returns for every customer for free. From our customer's point of view, GST returns are on autopilot and they are informed of the results of the GST return every year when their other return is being filed, personal or corporate. Step number 3, HST or GST and PST. Which is better? I will give you the British Columbia experience and let you decide which environment you'd like to do business in. In BC, GST is 5% and PST is 7%. For a few years, BC had HST of 12%. Again, HST simply added the GST and PST together. On April 1st, 2013, HST was voted out of the province. GST and PST still exist at 5% and 7%, but businesses with a GST number are only zero balancing the 5% of GST. They still pay 7% PST, but cannot zero it out anymore. So, regardless of your political point of view, all businesses in BC lost 7% that day. Since then, we at Green Financial have been urging customers to vote HST back to BC so we can zero out 12% versus zeroing out 5%. If you do not have a GST HST number and have an active business, regardless of your annual revenue, get one. Green Financial Online Inc. provides the contact information and the script to use when getting one. There are things you must say and things you don't want to say to CRA, as they actively discourage people from getting GST numbers when they are in the startup mode, or if their annual revenues are under $30,000. By law, they must issue you a GST number if you are active, but if this is your first time, the pressure tactics can be so strong people have decided not to proceed with the application. Our company helps you avoid this problem to safely and legally keep 5% of your revenues in your pocket. We do this by providing every customer the GST application script that works every time. Earlier, we mentioned that on goods and services bought and taken possession of in Canada. That means PST, GST, HST can only be charged when the customer buys and takes possession while in Canada. A US-based customer can buy from any province, have the item sent to any US state, and not have our PST, GST, HST taxes added to the price because the customer was not in Canada when they took possession. Or if a BC vendor sold to a customer in Alberta, the 5% GST applies as the Alberta customer is in Canada, but Alberta has no PST, so PST, HST cannot be charged. This also applies to tourists. While in Canada, they pay the PST, GST, and HST as applicable to the province they are visiting, even though their country has none of these taxes. When they are in Canada, our tax laws apply. I and everyone at Green Financial look forward to helping you. Thank you for watching this video, and if you need a tax professional or bookkeeping services to help you with your situation, please contact me at one of the following.